Yes. No, that's all right. I'm expecting him. Please send him in. Dr. Drew, please sit down.
Mr. Davis.
Can I offer you anything? Coffee, perhaps?
No, thank you.
Are you sure?
Positive.
You know, it's none of my business, but
But what?
you look tired. Your trip across town, how was it?
Excuse me?
Your drive from the medical school. I know this time of day, traffic can be especially...
Mr. Davis.
Yes,
I don't mean to be rude, but
you're very busy,
yes.
as am I, as I'm sure you realize.
Yes, I would imagine so.
This damn war, we're all being stretched to our limit, aren't we? Beyond the limit, actually. Roosevelt, me, you, everyone.
The war, Mr. Davis?
Inescapable, isn't it? For all of us.
It's the reason I'm here.
So I gather.
My memorandum. You've read it?
I have.
And?
Let's talk about blood, shall we?
What?
An odd request, I know, especially from somebody in my position. I mean, look at where we are. The Red Cross, a monument to American ingenuity, American generosity. And like it or not, I'm the person in charge, the grand poobah, so to speak, sitting like some potentate behind a dark mahogany desk. This desk. So let's be honest for a second. The man in the street might assume I know everything there is to know about blood, wouldn't he? But in fact, you're the expert here, not me. Isn't that right?
If you're asking if it's my area of expertise, then the answer is yes.
Oh, please don't be modest. You're not just an expert, you're the expert, and we both know it too. I mean, when it comes to blood, the banking, the storage, I mean, you just about wrote the book on it, didn't you?
We're talking about science, Mr. Davis. A collective effort. And science is the team that matters, not the individual.
Except when a leader is needed. Someone to tell us the best way to collect, store it, especially when the troops so desperately need it. And it's you we chose to head the division, wasn't it? Not just some generic team member. I mean, isn't that true? Isn't that clearly the situation here?
Your initial question, can you repeat it?
I'll do better than that. I'll refine it. Look, the point is, we're all different, aren't we? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not just saying any one person is better than another. I'm just stating that differences exist. And we dishonor science if we don't candidly acknowledge those differences. Am I making sense?
If I'm not mistaken, Mr. Davis, your question had to do with blood, so maybe we could get back to it.
What I'm trying to say is the revised policy, the provisions, the restrictions, I know you don't agree with them.
You're right. I don't.
Fine, but at least acknowledge the process.
Process? What process?
Dr. Drew, please let me continue. I want to assure you here and now, that each and every provision of the policy was exhaustively discussed. There was input from multiple sources.
Not from me, there wasn't.
And for that, I apologize, but please consider time was of the essence.
Maybe time was, but obviously not accuracy.
I'm not following you. What was inaccurate?
Good God. Where to begin? Let's start with the science of blood, shall we? The revised policy, the policy you just put in place, the policy that will affect the many thousands, no, tens of thousands of brave souls in the U.S. military who may require blood at some point. That policy boldly proclaims the following: that blood from the races will not be mixed, that white blood will not be transfused to Negroes, and colored blood will not be transfused to whites. Am I stating that correctly or am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. Our revised policy, that's exactly what it stipulates. And you know who signed off on that policy? The highest ranking physicians in both the Army and the Navy.
Really? Well, I don't care if the president himself signed off on it. The policy is nonsense.
No, it's not.
Oh, yes, it is. And you know why?
Go ahead. I'm listening. Speak your piece.
Because blood is blood. There are no racial correlates. As long as the blood types match, race doesn't matter.
Now you're just being naive.
Naive how?
Race does matter.
Not when it comes to blood.
No blood or no blood, race always matters.
Do you even hear yourself? Do you realize how unscientific you sound?
Dr. Drew.
Or illogical.
Let me remind you.
Flat out stupid.
You know what your problem is?
I didn't know I had a problem.
You think your science, the science of blood, is the only science there is.
I don't know what you're talking about. Science is science.
Only to you, not to the rest of us. To you, it's only about the science of blood. But I need to consider the larger picture here, especially given the circumstances.
What circumstance?
The war, the country, the times we're living in. That entails more than just the science of blood. That entails the science of psychology.
What?
You heard me. The science of psychology. Just think about it. All those fathers and mothers in the kitchens of America, their sons going off to war, maimed in battle, needing blood. Do you really think those people, the people in the kitchens of America, do you really think those people want their sons to receive blood from somebody who isn't white?
You're insane.
No, I'm not.
Oh, yes, you are. You're a lunatic.
And you're being insubordinate.
Then fire me.
Oh. Let's both take a step back, okay? So we can consider all the ramifications here.
Like what?
Enlistment, troop numbers. At the moment, everyone is gung-ho to serve, right?
I don't see the connection.
You don't?
No. So why don't you explain it to me?
Fine, I will. Just listen carefully. That's all I ask. If the boys of America, the white boys, get wind of the fact that colored blood is in their system, that they may be the recipients of colored blood, if God forbid they're injured.
Stop! I don't want to hear any more of this.
What? You don't think there'd be an uproar?
You know what? We might as well terminate this conversation. And when I say terminate, I mean immediately.
Why?
Why? Because I'm talking science. I'm talking facts. And all you can do is focus on fear, paranoia.
Really? What about morale, discipline on the battlefield? Do you really think the officers will be able to control their troops when they can't even guarantee the purity of our blood supply?
What did you just say?
Look, I understand you see things differently, and we're all entitled to our own opinion, but my job is different than yours. Your job is to deal with the science of blood. My job is to deal with everything aside from that. The politicians, the public, the rest of America.
The rest of America.
Exactly.
And do you think the rest of America is worried about the racial purity of our own blood supply?
Why don't you?
Just listen to yourself. Do you know who you sound like right now?
No, but I'm sure you're going to tell me.
Adolf Hitler. That's exactly who you sound like. Adolf Hitler.
No, I don't.
Sure you do. You just don't want to admit it. I mean, if we and the Nazis both believe in the same idiocy, why is there any need to fight them?
Are you calling me a Nazi?
No. I'm calling you exactly what you are. The head of the American Red Cross. A man who's obsessed with the racial purity of his blood supply, who feels he needs to guard it from people like me. In short, a man not fit for his job, a man who won't let facts get in the way of his ignorance.
I'll say this. You're right about one thing.
Really? What's that?
This conversation, it's officially over.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
Let me be blunt with you, Dr. Drew. You think hard. You think very hard about your attitude.
My attitude?
Yes, your attitude. And just be glad I'm not firing you, at least not today.
Believe me, getting fired by you is not something I'm worried about.
Why? Because you have connections?
Connections? Me? You must have me confused with someone else. Maybe one of those weak-kneed politician friends of yours. But as God is my witness, even without connections, I'm not worried about you firing me, not for 1 second.
What's this?
My letter of resignation. I won't give you the satisfaction of firing me. You don't deserve it. I quit.
Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top. Ain't no use in diving. What's the use of jiving?